What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another How to Play. Today, I'm going to be talking about Tyler Schroeder's 12th place Pasadena RLE deck, Fourth Kind. What this video is going to do is we're basically going to talk about Fourth Kind and give a quick snapshot of what the deck looks like, followed by the strategies and tactics utilized inside of this deck, and then lastly, we're going to go back to a recap, look at the deck list, and more specifically, the sideboard. So, Fourth Kind, 5 hand size, 34 health character. Played off of the order symbol. He says the fourth card you try to play on your turn gets a -4 difficulty and +4 damage. It's easier to play and it hits a little bit harder. And then once per game, if my opponent has built a healthy board, I get to force them to commit 4 of those resources. And then lastly, after I block with an attack, I get to add that block to my hand. Not only is it a good block and I recur a cool threatening card, but I've also got some really cool on-block tricks that I get to do. So the basic idea, the basic strategy for the deck is Fourth Kind cheats high difficulty attacks. He plays high difficulties easy. He punishes reckless builds. He's a 5-hander, and he's got the Order Disruption kit available to him. So some of the cool attacks that you get to cheat here are things like Indiscriminate Shock, One for All Full Cowling, and then Decaying Palm Slam. Incredible cards whenever they're played inside of the deck. Cards that normally want to be played pretty early, but with Fourth Kind essentially giving them all -4 difficulty, and Indiscriminate Shock as a 1 difficulty attack is very, very strong. Not to mention Fourth Kind getting to put the extra +4 damage on it. You can say that, repeat that sentence for all 3 of these incredible cards. Not to mention, you can kind of repeat that statement for all the attacks of the deck. Giving any move +4 damage is pretty good. As well as punishing your opponent if they build foolishly. Cards like Levitation, Electric Jolt, being able to commit down specific resources, then using your once per game. If my opponent has 6 foundations and I have Levitation, Electric Jolt out, I commit their entire board. It all turns sideways, so that if I found a good aggressive hand, I get to then end the game. And the one way that you really got to get around this when fighting against Fourth Kind is you would build 5 foundations and then build to 14 foundations as quickly as you could. Well, that lands you a square in deadlock, which means Vile Seizing comes in, where all of your checks get -2 for the rest of the turn. So now you have to dance around this 10 foundation stopping point, or else double Vile Seizing into Indiscriminate Shock and the game's over. So the other thing that Fourth Kind really gets to leverage here in the current format is the fact that he is a 5-hander. The order symbol has just a ton of draw, with Calling for Backup and Passing the Torch essentially being +1s. If it's the first thing I do, I Calling for Backup, flip, and I redraw. Passing the Torch, commit, and redraw. So being able to leverage your 35 or 34 health, your 34 health, as well as selectively being able to pick up blocks and make good blocks, and stretch out that health total, feels really, really good when you're not stuck to 5 cards in your hand. Play your 4 that you're supposed to hold 1 doesn't apply when you've calling and passing to now hold 3. I've got options. Feels really, really strong. And then lastly, just like the order symbol has a ton of disruption, right? With things like House of Cards. Do you want a momentum? Well, I'll take that from you. Did you want to draw a card on my turn? Well, no, I'll take that from you. And then Challenge the Fakes, one of the best disruption pieces of 5 hand size, 34 health character could have, of -1 damage. If I choose not to block this move, you essentially get Breaker 2'd. Just incredible for the character. And so now as we take and we look at the list, some of the outliers that we have in this one, as opposed to some of these other Fourth Kind lists, is I'm loving the main boarded Blood Curdle. We saw that that these characters that are really affected by Blood Curdle are making huge waves. This is a Recovery Girl killer, and I want to have that idea game 1 as opposed to being forced to side it. Also, cool things like Can't Escape Me and Fulfilled My Duty feel really cool for that order disruption idea. Feels really awesome. And then lastly, when we talk about the response commit after you block with an attack, add it back to your hand, I didn't talk about Ice Slide Tackle, which is an incredible on-block trick. If you block a high attack with this move, it deals no damage. Feels very good versus Zero Gravity Lift is like the number 1. Onto the sideboard, we've got Searing Glacial Storms, Citywide Crisis that we talked about, the 3rd Blood Curdle, Double Fruits of Our Labors for more deadlock hate, and then Plus Ultra just as a solid mid block. With One with Nature out of the format now, Plus Ultra stock has gone way up, and so just using Plus Ultra as I block this mid attack feels really good versus decks like Jiro and such. So with that, Congratulations again to Tyler Schroeder for their 12th place finish at the Pasadena RLE. If you like this video and you want to check out more like it, there's a whole playlist here on the channel with all the other RLE decks. With that said, you guys, thank you much for watching, and as always, I wish you well.